High temperatures in the upper 20s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, you may be in big trouble with Chip Wood.
Our owner?
Free oil changes along with alignment?
On any 4-tire purchase.
And Michelin's up to $100 off?
Yep.
Sorry, Mike, but I'm telling.
But the Wood family is behind all this.
Oh, those rascals.
But don't tell the accountants.
Of course not. And what do they do again?
Buy any set of 4 tires at Tire Discounters and get a free alignment and oil change. Make them Michelin's and save up to $100 more. See store for details.
IMI is hiring CDL Class B drivers for their ready-mix trucks. Receive a great starting wage, outstanding benefits, and a generous retirement plan. Learn more at driveimi.com. Indy Humane. Find your new best friend today. Visit indyhumane.org.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome to 93 WIBC, the Gun Guy Show. And we had just a bit of an issue here with audio at the beginning, but we're glad you're with us. We've got a lot to talk about, as we always do. Just last week, we saw an arrest in Bloomington as part of a protest, and a gentleman, Ryan Hughes, 42 years old, reportedly, and this is from an article by Chloe Oden from the Indiana Daily Student. And coming from the Indiana Daily Student, I think it's an objective, well-written article, but it reports on the fact that a Ryan Hughes, 42 years old, was arrested Friday following a protest against ICE, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. And as we've seen across the country, obviously as we've been following in Minnesota and other places, Bloomington decided, not surprising, given the constituency of Monroe County and Indiana University and Bloomington as a city, they had an anti-ICE protest. Well, Ryan Hughes decided to attend this protest with a shotgun slung around his neck, and where he's carrying it across his chest. And it's on the type of sling. I talked about this on Hammer and Nigel not long ago. A lot of us call that a tech sling, where it essentially holds the gun at low ready. And he's carrying a pistol grip shotgun in that configuration. And that in and of itself, there's absolutely nothing wrong with. I often, even in like Pro 2A, protests or demonstrations or rallies, whatever it might be, I often, inquire of people of what it is they're trying to accomplish by bringing their gun to the protest. But it's absolutely legal. It's absolutely consistent with your Second Amendment right to do it. Where legal issues arise is what you do with that gun, especially if you get into any kind of a confrontation while carrying the gun. And listen, this is not long after we saw the shooting of a protester in Minneapolis, Alex Preddy, and a lot of people, including Republicans in Washington, to my great disappointment, came out after Alex Preddy was shot and said, well, he was carrying a handgun. He was carrying a 9mm semi-automatic firearm with 2 extra magazines. And so, of course, he was shot. I mean, that was the tone and that was the content of a lot of comments that we saw, including from members of the Trump administration. And I got to tell you, I was disappointed tremendously in that. I think too many people, when these kind of issues arise, people want to divide themselves into this camp or that camp. In other words, you're on Team ICE or you're on Team Protester, and never the twain shall meet. And there's no compromise. There's no discussion. If you're on Team ICE, then everything ICE is doing is just fine. If you're on Team Protester or Team Antifa or Team whatever you want to call it, anti-ICE, anti-Trump, no kings, whatever the hell nomenclature you want to throw at it, people declare themselves as part of a team, and by God, everything they say and do or post or comment is going to be consistent with what team they're on. And you know what? I would say while I'm generally on Team ICE and Team Law Enforcement, first and foremost, I'm on Team Constitution. And more specific than that, I'm on Team Second Amendment. And I'm going to be true to that team and my loyalty to that team over and above any other allegiance I may be tempted to adhere to. And where people came out and say Alex Preddy deserved to get shot in Minneapolis because he was carrying a gun in a holster? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. You're not going to get any support for that proposition from me. Now, you carry a gun to a protest, and listen, there are videos of him even the week before he was shot where he's in a confrontation with ICE agents, where he spits on an agent, he kicks the taillight out of an ICE vehicle. I mean, he's clearly not a good guy. He's clearly trying to create violent confrontations. And he clearly instigated a lot of what occurred. But the issue of whether Alex Preddy deserved to get shot comes down to whether Alex Preddy presented a legitimate threat of serious bodily injury to those officers or he did not. That's what it comes down to. That's the analysis. What he was doing, did officers have a reasonable belief? And I'm going to apply a little Indiana law here. Did officers have a reasonable belief that they were preventing serious bodily injury to themselves or others at the time they shot him and killed him? And if the answer to that is yes, then what they did is justified. If the answer to that is no, then what they did was not justified. And you can be on Team ICE all day long, and that changes nothing about that analysis. And let me just tell you, having a gun in a holster that you're not touching or attempting to draw, and again, there are still facts to come out. I've seen different videos. I've heard a lot of audio. I've seen video that appears to show another ICE agent removing the gun from Alex Preddy's holster and walking away at a brisk pace away from Alex Preddy at the time Alex Preddy was shot. So he wasn't even in possession of a gun in a holster or otherwise at the time he was shot. Now, there also appears to be video showing that officer walking away with Alex Preddy's gun had an accidental discharge, or what more accurately is called a negligent discharge, and actually fired the gun into the ground, into the pavement, and that may have, quote unquote, triggered other officers to then start shooting. But seeing a gun in somebody's holster and thereafter hearing a gunshot, would a reasonable officer under those circumstances believe that they're preventing serious bodily injury to themselves or others by shooting Alex Preddy? Again, if the answer to that is yes, okay, then that's justified. If the answer to that's no, then it's not justified. And a lot of people want to come out and they want to go straight to the factual conclusions. Well, officers were threatened by that gun, and so they clearly had that reasonable belief. Well, you know what? That's exactly what jury trials are all about. And there's also a couple of separate legal issues here. A lot of people just want to apply the law of self-defense, and that's what I've been doing in this discussion so far. And again, I'm applying a little Indiana law here, and I'm sure Minnesota law is very, very close, if not identical. You have a reasonable belief in order to use deadly force, police officer or otherwise. In self-defense, you have to have a reasonable belief you're preventing serious bodily injury to you or someone else. Separately, and that's an issue of whether or not you acted in self-defense that's justifiable under state law. There's a separate issue. There's a separate issue, which is whether or not those officers deprived Alex Preddy of his constitutional rights, specifically under the Fourth Amendment, to be free from unlawful or unreasonable seizure through the use of excessive force. And that's a mouthful. Let's talk about what I'm talking about. Where police officers allegedly use excessive force, they can be prosecuted under state law, potentially, because they were not justified through the law of self-defense. But there's a separate issue. There's a federal statute. There's a federal statute that says that those who deprive others of their constitutional rights under color of the law create a federal offense that has very significant penalties to it. And where you deprive someone of their constitutional rights under color of law, then you can be prosecuted for that, and that's a crime. And one constitutional right is under the Fourth Amendment to be free of unreasonable searches and seizures. When you are detained, when you are the recipient of force, whether that's getting hit with a baton or getting hit with a taser or getting hit with pepper spray in the face or getting shot, that is getting seized under the Fourth Amendment. And whether that's an unreasonable seizure or not, i.e., whether or not there was excessive force used against you under the circumstances, is a somewhat different analysis than the self-defense analysis I've just been talking about so far. And that test comes down to would a police officer, a hypothetical reasonable police officer, believe that use of force was appropriate or not. In other words, the level of force used by a police officer has to be objectively reasonable under the totality of the circumstances. Objectively reasonable under the totality of the circumstances. That takes that subjective element of reasonable belief that's applied in a state law context, in a self-defense context. Now we're talking about a little bit of different analysis. And listen, I have tried to a jury in federal court an excessive force case against a police officer. I know a little bit whereof I speak. And it becomes an objectively reasonable analysis standard. And would it be objectively reasonable for a police officer seeing a gun in a holster, then that gun having been removed from the holster? Now, I don't want to assume that whoever shot Alex Preddy saw the gun removed from his holster. That would be a key fact. But all those things get factored in to start determining whether or not what that officer did was objectively reasonable. And if so, he did not commit a crime. If it was not, then he did commit a crime, and a very serious crime under federal law. Also, you can take away the potential self-defense analysis under state law if he didn't have that reasonable belief under the circumstances that what he was doing was necessary to prevent serious bodily injury. So I didn't mean to get too down into the weeds on the law here, but all that gets factored in, and I can be on Team ICE or I can oppose Team ICE protesters all day long. It doesn't change that analysis. And I'm going to be objective in that analysis as opposed to clinging to some loyalty to one team or the other. And so much of the dialogue out there I'm a little disappointed about because people seem to think they need to be simply loyal to their team. I'm not that guy. But with that, let's shift that discussion and that focus back over to this gentleman in Bloomington who's now under arrest for intimidation with a deadly weapon, which is a level 5 felony. That's the second level up in terms of severity of felonies. and pointing a firearm, which is level 6 felony, which is the lowest level felony. But they can both land you in prison. They can both land you with felony convictions, which mean you've lost your gun rights for the foreseeable future. And all this arises from him carrying, just like Alex Preddy did, carrying a gun at a protest, this one in Bloomington, Indiana. Why is he under arrest, and why are those circumstances substantially different? That's what we'll talk about when we come back. Right now, we're going to take a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
The U.S. military blew up another alleged drug boat.
93 WIBC.
2 people died, 128 drug traffickers have been killed.
What happens next
Bill that would ban kids from using cell phones in schools
happens here.
These earthquakes have been a reminder that we do have earthquakes.
Stay in the know.
More snow is expected to arrive in Indiana.
While you're on the go.
And the Winter Olympics begins today with opening ceremony set at 2 Eastern.
On air, online, and on Alexa.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Next Saturday, March 7th, not next Saturday, Saturday, March 7th, we've got our Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class. It's going to be at Indy Arms, 9 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. And it's conveniently located on the northeast side of Indy. This is 5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. How can you stay on the right side of the law? How can you avoid being prosecuted for things like intimidation with a deadly weapon, pointing a firearm, and other crimes involving firearms, most of which are felonies? That's exactly what we talk about, that and a whole lot more in Essentials of Indiana Gun Law. Where is it illegal for you to carry a gun, both under Indiana and Indiana and federal law? All those things we talk about in that course, again, and much more. It's $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. We'd love to see you there. You can sign up right online. Just go to tactical-firearms.com and click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
Jewelry Gram. Hi, I'm Brian, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company, here to remind you that Valentine's Day is Saturday, February the 14th. It's the most romantic day of the year to give and get fine jewelry. We have expertly crafted gifts for every type of sweetheart, any style, any budget. Get creative and design a custom necklace with meaningful charms, including 14-karat gold letters, engravable hearts, and birthstones. For the one, we'll help you propose with a dream engagement ring. Come see our wide selection of hand-picked natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes, in stock and ready to compare side by side. At Shane Company, love is always in the air with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty, everyday competitive prices, and no-pressure shopping experience. Come see us in store or at shaneco.com because a friend wants you to win Valentine's Day. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
That's another amazing run by Team USA.
Mom, think I'll be on Team USA one day?
Well, I'll take this one.
What? Are you speaking to us?
Yes, and to answer your question, anything's possible, especially with Xfinity.
So, I can be the best snowboarder ever?
Well, I can't guarantee that, but Xfinity can guarantee that your internet price won't change for 5 years.
Okay. What if I practice every day?
Then maybe you'll be snowboarding for Team USA at the next Olympic Winter Games. And Mom, you'll still be paying the same price for Wi-Fi.
Ooh, really stuck the landing there.
It's the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get our best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed, just $50 a month. Plus, get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 value per month. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Get the Dugan Air Premium Service Tune-Up for just $57. The Dugan Air experts won't just inspect, they will fine-tune your furnace to perfection with a detailed 27-point safety check. Plus, Dugan Air's no breakdown guarantee means you'll bask in comfort all winter long without worry. In Johnson County and South Central Indiana, experience the Dugan difference. Dugan Air is your American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro dealer. Go DuganAir.com.
Premium service, no shenanigans.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu, the daytime coughing, aching fever under your flu medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
This Valentine's Day, give her that symbol of eternal and everlasting love. A diamond from Pierce Jewelers in Carmel. Remember, shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
This hour is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Valentine's gift headquarters.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Ralford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. We're adjusting the microphones in studio a little bit. I had a comment on the YouTube feed that my mic was a little quiet, so we're jockeying microphones around. I continue, especially since I'm only here once a week and wasn't even here last week when I got preempted by Indiana basketball. I'm still kind of working my way through the new studio here a little bit. So I'm sorry for any of those glitches if it's interfering with your listening pleasure here and listening to the Gun Guy Show. But let's get back into this arrest of a gentleman in Bloomington, Brian Hughes, 42 years old, who was arrested immediately after a protest in Bloomington where folks are protesting ICE, just like in Minneapolis when we were talking about the Alex Preddy situation. Except here, Mr. Hughes decided it would be a good idea to go to his anti-ICE protest with a pistol grip shotgun on a sling carrying across his chest. Is there anything illegal about doing that in Indiana? Absolutely not. Is that consistent with his Second Amendment rights in Indiana? You bet. He also apparently took pepper spray. And hey, I'm a big fan of pepper spray. I call it OC spray. I like this little brand name. I have no association with these people. I have no business relationship, but it's a little a company where they make one pepper spray or OC spray called POM, P-O-M. And I attended a training class one time. Great guy named John Murphy taught this class. It was called Street Encounters, Skills and Tactics. And it was primarily a gun course, but we also learned a lot about using OC spray. And his acronym for what POM stood for was Pocket Full of Misery. And I think that's apropos. It's high concentration stuff. It's very, very effective. It's consistent with what police officers use. And they make these little canisters, very easy to carry in a front pocket, next to your pocket knife, if you're one of those people who carries a knife every day like I do. And I'm a big fan of pepper spray. So Mr. Hughes took his shotgun and his pepper spray and apparently a handgun to the protest. No criticism from me for any of those things. I don't walk around with a shotgun on a sling across my chest, but it's his right to do so and totally legal. No, not a problem, not a problem. Where the problem arose later on was when Mr. Hughes and his compatriots there protesting ICE decided to start blocking traffic at Walnut Street near Kirkwood Avenue in Bloomington. Very close to the courthouse, by the way. And they start blocking traffic, and some people didn't much care for that. And that led to a series of confrontations. And there's video showing in one situation where a guy not particularly pleased that both the sidewalk was being obstructed by protesters and the street was being blocked by protesters. One person walked up to Mr. Hughes complaining about that. And there's some audio where they're cussing each other a little bit. At one point, Mr. Hughes takes his OC spray and sprays this guy in the face. He's alleged to have sprayed other people in the face with his OC spray, other people that were complaining about him blocking the street or blocking the sidewalk with his fellow protesters. But at some point, a person was trying to drive through the protesters or around the protesters, and this is very similar to a situation we also saw on video during the Summer of Love, if you remember that, back in 2020 when there's a protest at about 10th and Meridian, which, by the way, I could throw a baseball to right here from the new studios. That intersection is just right around the corner from where we are here at 21 East St. Joseph. But the driver of the vehicle tried to drive around the protesters, and the protester, just like we saw happen here in Indy on Meridian Street in 2020, they jumped in front of him to prevent him from getting through. Then Hughes is accused of saying, "I will F you up." We'll leave it to your imagination what the F stands for, while pointing a shotgun at the driver. And according to police documents at that point, based on a probable cause affidavit, that caused the driver to fear for his life. That action right there, pointing a firearm at someone who's simply trying to lawfully drive on a city street, making a comment like, "I will F you up," and pointing your loaded gun at someone, that right there constitutes two different felonies. That's intimidation with a deadly weapon, and that's pointing a firearm. Level 5 felony for the intimidation, level 6 felony for the pointing a firearm. And that's exactly what Mr. Hughes was arrested for, along with a couple of different battery charges. What's the battery? That's for spraying people with OC spray. Battery is simply the touching someone in a rude, angry, or insolent manner. Touching someone in a rude, angry, or insolent manner. That's the definition in Indiana. You touch someone in that manner and cause an injury, well, now it's Class A misdemeanor. You touch someone in that manner and cause a serious injury, now you can get up into felonies. So he's being charged with misdemeanor battery, which is just probably battery with injury, not serious injury, for spraying somebody with the OC spray, but he's got two different felony charges. Will that hold up? It is a defense to the crime of pointing a firearm if you are justified in using force in self-defense. Somebody just trying to drive their car that you jump in front of and block, so they're not trying to hurt you, they're not trying to hit you with a car, they're just trying to drive past you and get around you to go on with their day. You jump in front of them, you don't have a self-defense claim. And there's another issue with self-defense, and that is, and this was absolutely true in the Meridian Street incident here in Indianapolis back in 2020, where a protester jumped in front of a truck twice to block him and then pulled a gun and held the gun at low ready. And in my mind, that was absolutely criminal confinement. What's criminal confinement? Where you simply inhibit someone's movement against their will. And if you do that with a deadly weapon, that's criminal confinement as a felony. That's absolutely what happened on Meridian Street. I can see that intersection from the studio. That's exactly what happened there, and that person should have been arrested and prosecuted. But oh no, our woke prosecutor in Marion County is not going to go there because he was siding with the people who were doing the protesting. But there's another issue, and that is that you can't claim self-defense if the confrontation that gives rise to your need to use force was caused by your commission of a crime. If you're committing a crime and that commission of a crime by you causes the confrontation, you can't claim self-defense. That's written right into the self-defense law. Look it up, Indiana Code 35-41-3-2. You can't claim self-defense if you're breaking a law, and that breaking of a law causes the confrontation. If I'm blocking traffic, am I committing a crime? Yes, it's a very low-level crime. It's obstruction of traffic. It's Class B misdemeanor. It's about as minor a crime as there is, but it's still a crime. And if I'm committing a crime and that causes the confrontation, I can't claim self-defense. That's true of Mr. Hughes. It's true of the idiot who was blocking traffic back in 2020 here on Meridian Street. He's wearing a ridiculous tiger stripe shirt, as I recall. So I started calling him Joe Exotic every time I talked about him on the radio back then. But it's absolutely true then. It's absolutely true of Mr. Hughes. So he's got a problem claiming self-defense. If he wants to say, oh, well, people were driving aggressively and I was defending myself. Well, you were defending yourself while blocking traffic, which is a crime. So you can't claim self-defense, period, end of story. And if you can't claim self-defense, then what excuse do you have for pointing your gun at someone who's just trying to drive their car? and threatening someone like the "I will F you up" while pointing a gun at them, that gets you the intimidation as well. Level 5 felony, you can be talking jail time. And I have not looked up Mr. Hughes to see what his criminal history is, but even with no criminal history, and I won't speculate, he's 42 years old and he's a nut, clearly, by virtue of the videos I've seen of him. So I'm guessing he probably has some kind of a criminal history, but I do not know. One way or the other, he could be looking at jail time. So what if you're the driver, by the way? What if you're just caught up in a protest? You don't want to be part of the protest. You're not trying to participate. You're not there to counter protest. You're just trying to get home, or you're just trying to get to work. And suddenly you get caught up with a bunch of these wacko nutcases who are, some of which carrying guns, some of whom are carrying guns. What do you do? What are your options? What are your self-defense options? We'll get into that a little bit. Listen, we've seen a lot of protests around Indiana, and Indianapolis included. Let's talk about what your rights are as far as defending yourself if you unintentionally get caught up in one of these. Because there's a lot to unpack there as well. We'll get into all of that and take your calls. I always want to take your calls and have our listeners join the discussion at 317-239-9393, 317-239-9393. There's a vigorous discussion going on. I haven't been able to look at it too much in detail because I've been doing live radio, but there's a detailed discussion on the Alex Preddy shooting on the chat feature of the YouTube feed. You want to jump onto YouTube, look up WIBC. You'll see the Gun Guy Show right there. You can click on that and participate in the chat feature. And there's a pretty lively discussion. It seems to me like there's some folks on there that may just be Team ICE as opposed to looking at it a little more objectively. But hey, that's your prerogative, and everybody is welcome to express their views and engage in that discussion. So check that out on YouTube. Right now, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
February is when excuses disappear and effort has to show up every night.
It's been a rough couple weeks for us, but this group will keep fighting, keep learning, and get back on track.
The Big Ten is stacked, and postseason hopes are at stake.
Confidence is one of those things, like you drop a couple, and then you got to figure out a way to put it away fast. There's another one coming right in front of you.
IU meets Oregon, Monday at 8:30 on the home of the Hoosiers, 93 WIBC.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-529-2856. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-529-2856. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-529-2856. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-529-2856 or biglou.com.
My name is Ariel. When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without my high school diploma. My entire life changed when I took a chance and got my high school diploma at age 22. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers. They were with me every step of the way, helping with my English and math, making sure I pushed through all the challenges.
Ariel, your success proves that what I'm doing as a teacher has real meaning.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Fox
News. I'm Gianna Gelosi. President Trump speaking with Minnesota leaders to try to put an end to the unrest in the state, deploying his border czar Tom Homan to lead ICE operations.
He will be reporting directly to the president. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino had been acting as the Border Patrol lead here, even hosting daily press conferences, really the face of the operation here. But Bovino is now returning to be sector chief in El Centro, California, and other Border Patrol agents are leaving as well.
Fox's Matt Finn. At least 34 people dead after that massive winter storm. It's still bringing bone-chilling temperatures nationwide. Fox Weather's Melanie Black in Boston, where almost 2 feet of snow fell.
And that snow is not going anywhere anytime soon. Our Fox Weather Forecast Center is calling for high temperatures in the 20s and overnight lows in the single digits this week.
America's listening to Fox News.
When the new year hits, every business could use a little something to stay ahead. A lift, a jump start, an edge, or perhaps a boost. Like the all-new 5-year business boost from Comcast Business. It's the certainty of a price lock for 5 years on qualifying internet bundles. Plus, you'll have the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment, so your whole team can stay connected at a great rate. And to sweeten the deal, ask about a $500 prepaid card when you add 2 lines of mobile. It's the boost your business deserves. So sign up for the 5-year business boost and get a 5-year price lock on ultra-reliable Wi-Fi. Plus, ask about a $500 prepaid card. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 3/22/26. New customers only. 1-year contract required for guaranteed rate. 5-year pricing applies to monthly service charge excluding taxes and fees. Best Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson, and now through Monday, February 16th, it's the President's Day sale at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Lazy Boy recliners start at $399. Smith Brothers sofas start at $18.99. Lift chairs start at $5.99, and reclining sofas start at $6.99. Save up to $800 on the best mattresses, including Tempur-Pedic. Our biggest President's Day sale ever ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
It's an all-new date, but it's the same great bourbon. Saturday, February 28th. Join me for Trump 1 year and 1 month.
The show about gun rights, gun safety, and responsible gun ownership. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. Let's talk about the protest situation a little bit. And this is something I talk about in my classes, by the way. You hear me pitching the Essentials of Indiana Gun Law course all the time here on the show. And we've got one of those coming up in March at Indy Arms. But, you know, a lot of people want to talk about that situation because it's in the news a lot, and it's very easy to hypothesize and put yourself into the middle of one of those situations. And it's smart to have a plan and to have an idea of what's legal and what's not in terms of what your options are. And here's the really nightmare situation for me. And this has influenced my thinking, even on what kind of firearm I want to have available to me when I come downtown. And here's the nightmare scenario to me is that you turn a corner, you're just trying to, you know, for me, for instance, I'm just trying to get to the studio, or I'm just trying to get to the State House where I am quite often, or a meeting downtown somewhere. But I turn a corner and suddenly, boom, there in the middle of the street, there's a great big gold protest going on, and they're blocking the street, and all of a sudden there are people behind me, and I'm getting blocked in, I'm getting surrounded, and now I'm stuck. And just like we saw in 2020. And actually, I had my show the Saturday that things got really bad that evening, and a lot of businesses were destroyed or damaged. A lot of windows were broken. I mean, the amount of plywood on windows in downtown Indy was just shocking to me. There were fires set in businesses, and some people lost their lives. And it was a very violent, volatile situation. And there were situations where people were in exactly the situation I just described. It was a woman on Monument Circle who got blocked in by a protest. And what she did is she actually, I believe she was with her daughter, if I recall correctly, in a minivan. And she hit the gas and drove through some people, bumped some of the protesters, and she ended up getting prosecuted for battery with a deadly weapon. Deadly weapon is the vehicle. Is a vehicle a deadly weapon? Sure it is. So what are your rights? I mean, the self-defense statute, this is a very, very important component of this discussion. The self-defense statute says you're justified in using reasonable force, including deadly force, again, to prevent serious bodily injury to you, and you have to have a reasonable belief that that force is necessary to prevent serious bodily injury to you or another person. Then separately, our Castle Doctrine includes your occupied motor vehicle. So what am I saying by that? Well, you can use reasonable force, including deadly force, to prevent or terminate an unlawful entry into or attack on your home or your occupied motor vehicle. Also says curtilage in there. We're not going to talk about curtilage. We can derail the whole show going off talking about curtilage. But you can use reasonable force, including deadly force, to prevent or terminate an unlawful attack on or entry of your occupied motor vehicle. Isn't that interesting? So if I get caught up in a protest and someone is smashing my windshield with a baseball bat or striking my driver's side window with a tire iron so as to drag me out of my car and hurt me, am I justified in using my gun in that situation? Yes, that's an unlawful attack and entry into my occupied motor vehicle. And assuming they drag me out of my window, they're not going to get me out there and smother me with kisses and hugs, right? I'm preventing serious bodily injury. So can I do that? Yes. The problem about the protest situation, and the reason I call it a nightmare scenario, is because you're justified in preventing that unlawful attack on you or terminating that unlawful attack on you so as to prevent serious bodily injury, or preventing or terminating that unlawful attack on your occupied motor vehicle, but only against the people who are doing the attacking or the entering. Do you see what I'm saying? So what if your car's surrounded, you got a bunch of people who are arguably, and you can argue this point either way, just exercising their their First Amendment rights. They're carrying signs, they're chanting, they're having a protest, which they're absolutely constitutionally allowed to do, assuming they're doing it peacefully and not otherwise breaking the law. But let's say they are peacefully protesting and I've got protesters in front of my car, can I just slam on the gas? The problem with that scenario is that you're potentially injuring people who are not the same people trying to break into your car. Now, there are all kinds of theories, and I've had people say, well, they're all acting together, or it's a team exercise, it's all a conspiracy to do what they're saying. Well, you can argue those things, but I can tell you in a lot of jurisdictions, if you just hit the gas, you're definitely risking being prosecuted, because I'll guarantee you there are going to be people show up in court who say, hey, it's the old story. I'm the honor student, and I was just, I got out of school to go participate in the protest because I wanted to exercise my First Amendment rights, and this lunatic in a black Cadillac ran me over. And some other people may have been, breaking his window or swinging a baseball bat at his windshield, but that wasn't me. I was just exercising my First Amendment right. That's a tough situation to be in. You can defend yourself against the person trying to enter your vehicle or the person trying to assault you and cause serious bodily injury to you. You can't necessarily hurt other people in the process of getting away from the people who are actually attacking you. That's why it's such a sticky situation. That's why it's so difficult Tell you what, let's take a break. We're a little past the 3/4 hour. We'll talk a little bit more about this. And again, if you want to participate in this discussion, you want to go back to the Alex Preddy situation, you want to debate that with me, give us a call, join the discussion, 317-239-9393. 317-239-9393. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
It's an all-new date, but it's the same great bourbon. Saturday, February 28th, join me for Trump 1 year and 1 month later at the Hyatt Regency in downtown Indianapolis. The snow caused us to postpone, but it couldn't stop us. February 28th, downtown Indianapolis, the Hyatt Regency, Trump 1 year and 1 month later. The bourbon, the food, the live music, the red tie, and you. I'll have the full breakdown of how we win the midterms and more. Get your tickets. Go to WIBC.com. Trump 1 year and 1 month later at WIBC.com.
Guy Relford, I'm still screwing up the microphones in here. Totally my fault. I switched microphones so my audio would be better, and I just hit the wrong button. Guy Relford for the law offices of Guy Relford. If you've lost your gun rights, either through a felony conviction or something else on your record, you'd like to restore your rights, through expungement or other restoration processes, there are ways to restore your rights that apply to some people, certainly not all. If you'd like to discuss that, though, and see what your opportunities might be, give us a call. Contact us through the website. It's just relfordlaw.com. Our phone number is right there, or you can hit contact us and send us an email. It's relfordlaw.com.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Get great deals next weekend at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show next Saturday and Sunday at Stout Field in Indianapolis. The best dealers in the region will be at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show. Admission is just $6 for adults, and kids 12 and under get in free. Attendees must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. Next Saturday, 9 to 5 and Sunday, 9 to 3. Get directions and see upcoming events and more at CentralIndianaGunShows.com. That's CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
The Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council present the story of Tom and Levi.
Tom is the smartest man I know. He's been a professor at 2 major universities, been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, he told me that he was having problems in his classes. I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. And he was telling them that he was doing it as a favor to them, but I think in reality, he just wanted to get out of there. I was really starting to worry because I saw something was wrong.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me, and my love for him was just immense.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Chronic absenteeism is on the rise.
Sophia A., absent. Julio M., absent.
These absences are often due to the absence of crucial needs, like food, transportation, and health care.
Olivia H., absent. Preston L., absent.
But site coordinators from communities and schools connect kids to the resources they need so they show up prepared and ready to learn.
Jacob O., present.
Visit communitiesandschools.org. Being present matters.
Join WIBC February 28th at the Hyatt Regency at 6 p.m. for a night of flair and reflection with Tony Katz. VIP and general admission tickets are on sale now. Act fast. Get all the details at WIBC.com. Brought to you by Defiance Beef Company, Chimney Solutions, and Premier Arms.
Your rights, your responsibilities, your guns. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. We got a bit of a short segment here at the top of the hour. One thing I noticed just came out. I just got an email. In fact, after the show even started, I got an email. I subscribe to the National Crime Prevention Research Center, Crime Prevention Research Center, and this is the organization run by Dr. John R. Lott Jr., and he's a statistician, but he is the primary, the leading statistician and researcher when it comes to guns and gun crimes in the U.S. and internationally. And I got to tell you, if you want to see data, you want to see actual research results, check out the Crime Prevention Research Center. And I get an email from Dr. Lott about once a week, and it is always absolutely chock full of important information and statistics and data it's objectively verifiable, and it's really tremendously useful. And a lot of times is used, I think, to debunk a lot of the anti-gun rhetoric that we see out there. But one thing that jumped right out at me, in fact, it's the first thing listed in his newsletter email I just got, is, a lot of folks are saying that the U.S. should follow Australia, and the U.S. should be like Australia in terms of their gun control. And yes, they had essentially a massacre, their Bondi Beach shooting, where 15 people lost their lives and 40 people were wounded. And as a result, Australia is talking about passing more gun control, even over and above what they've done to date. And they've got some of the most restrictive gun laws in the world there in Australia. A lot of people are saying we need to follow the Australian model. How many times you heard that from politicians here in the U.S.? Well, what Dr. Lott did is he compiled the statistics for all violent crimes and looking at Australia and the U.S. to compare who has the most violent crime. Here in Australia now, where gun rights have been incredibly curtailed and or may likely be brutalized even more, he looked at total violent crime. And look at this. Things like physical assault is double in Australia what it is in the U.S. Robbery is about the same. Rape, sexual assault is 3 times higher in Australia. Burglaries and break-ins, what we call residential entry here in Indiana, 3 times higher in Australia, because bad guys don't have to worry about a gun in the house. Those issues tell me we've got it a lot more right than Australia does, and their gun control simply leads to more victims, not a safer society. And with that, here at the top of the hour, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
Jewelry Gram. Hi, I'm Brian, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company, here to remind you that Valentine's Day is Saturday, February the 14th. It's the most romantic day of the year to give and get fine jewelry. We have expertly crafted gifts for every type of sweetheart, any style, any budget. Get creative and design a custom necklace with meaningful charms, including 14-karat gold letters, engravable hearts, and birthstones. For the one, we'll help you propose with a dream engagement ring. Come see our wide selection of hand-picked natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes, in stock and ready to compare side by side. At Shane Company, love is always in the air with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty, everyday competitive prices, and no-pressure shopping experience. Come see us in store or at shaneco.com because a friend wants you to win Valentine's Day. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, you may be in big trouble with Chip Wood.
Our owner?
Free oil changes along with alignment?
On any 4-tire purchase.
And Michelin's up to $100 off?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, but I'm telling.
But the Wood family is behind all this.
Oh, those rascals.
But don't tell the accountants.
Of course not. And what do they do again?
Buy any set of 4 tires at Tire Discounters and get a free alignment and oil change. Make them Michelin's and save up to $100 more. See store for details.
The Attorney General's office wants to put your money back in your pocket. Visit indianaunclaimed.gov and search for yourself, your loved ones, or your business. It's fast, easy, and free.
Nobody likes a cold shower. LD Smith has hot deals on water heaters. Save up to $300 on a new water heater install.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
IMI is hiring CDL Class B drivers for their ready-mix trucks. Receive a great starting wage, outstanding benefits, and a generous retirement plan. Learn more at driveimi.com.
From the Duke and Air Heating and Cooling Mitsubishi Electric Studios, this is 93 WIBC HD1 HD2, Indianapolis.
For more evidence, Fox's Jonathan Hunt with details.
That second message was received by one of the local TV outlets here in Tucson. It appears that that did not contain the proof of life that the Guthrie family so desperately wants to see. It did not establish any two-way communication between these purported kidnappers and the Guthrie family, and it did not put in, as far as we're aware, any new deadlines. So the what has been described as a very consequential deadline remains sometime on Monday.
Investigators are canvassing Nancy's neighborhood as well as nearby where her daughter Annie lives, asking residents to turn over doorbell and home security video. One of the terrorists accused of taking part in the 2012 Benghazi attack has been arrested. Fox's Mike Emanuel with details on the announcement from the Justice Department.
Fox was there as Zubair al-Bakush arrived on U.S. soil. U.S. officials promising to prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law. Al-Bakush is charged with murder, terror, and arson in connection with the 2012 attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya. If convicted, he could face the death penalty or life in prison and a hefty fine. That 13-hour attack killed 4 Americans, including U.S. Ambassador Chris Stevens. Kash Patel says al-Bakush was arrested overseas, but did not reveal the precise location.
The suspect did not enter a plea in court on Friday and was ordered to be held until another hearing, which is expected next week. America is listening to Fox News.
Fox News Books has boasted a host of bestsellers. Now, Fox News Books enters the world of podcasting. This season, the Fox News Books podcast presents The Miracles Among Us. For its first season, Fox News Books will present this special podcast brought to you by the author, Fox News senior medical analyst, Dr. Mark Siegel. The Miracles Among Us on the Fox News Books podcast. Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you download podcasts.
Hello, everyone. This is Ainsley Earhart. Thank you for joining me for the 52-episode podcast series, The Life of Jesus.
Neil McDonough portrays Jesus. Stacy Keach, Sean Astin, Michael York, and Kristen Bell provide the voices for some of Jesus' notable followers. A listening experience that will provide hope, comfort, and understanding of the greatest story ever told, The Life of Jesus.
Make sure to spread the word.
Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Finding a high schooler with a gun. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending this hour. The Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department says an officer encountered a student at one of the planned protests this week who had a firearm. The officer conducted a traffic stop and found a boy inside a vehicle with at least 2 others with the gun. He was arrested for dangerous possession. The department is launching an internal review of the incident after a video shared to social media showed parts of the encounter between the officer and the kid. The Indianapolis Fire Department is looking into how a fire started at a church in Beech Grove late Friday night. 24 firefighters in total responded to the church. It took crews about 5 hours to put out the blaze. Thankfully, no one was hurt. You can see photos of the fire in a story at WIBC.com. Jay County Sheriff's Deputy Patrick Wells says he was one of the first people at the scene of a fatal crash that killed 4 Amish men earlier this week. 5 construction workers had left a job site and were riding in a van with another man on State Road 67 when they were hit head-on by a semi.
To have 4 lives taken like that, regardless, is devastating to a small community like ours.
He called the crash horrific, telling Wish TV it was complete chaos when he got there. The driver of the semi has been identified as a 30-year-old Kyrgyzstan national named Bekskan Bishkiv. He's now in federal custody. And the Pacers are heading to Toronto for their matchup with the Raptors on Sunday. They're coming off a loss to the Bucks in Milwaukee, 105-99. Sunday's tip-off up north is at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Now the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Early snowflakes possible, mainly north of I-70. Mostly cloudy skies remain for the rest of the day. High temperatures in the upper 20s. On Wish TV, Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
My brother never checks on Dad. Or my sister won't make time to take Mom to the doctor. Are these things you've heard yourself say? This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I have a caregiving tip for you. Stay tuned.
Cardon & Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. Visit cardon.us to find a community near you.
Expressing anger or resentment toward unsupportive siblings can cause unmendable rifts in relationships. Don't try to control everyone else. You can only control yourself. The success of your caregiving journey does not rest on others. So enjoy the time with your loved one. This is your special time with them. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access the library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Show your home some love with Zero Res. 3 rooms of cleaning starting at $119 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. Book now at ZeroResIndy.com.
This hour is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's diamond engagement ring store.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back for hour number 2 here at the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. We're glad you're with us, whether you're listening over the air at 93.1 FM, whether you're listening on your smart device like Alexa. You could just hit Alexa, listen to 93.1 WIBC at WIBC.com. You can stream it, or you can go to YouTube and actually catch the video and participate in the chat feature as well. We got a lot of people on there being very active here during this show. I want to give you a little bit of a heads up. There is a group out there called the Indiana Firearms Coalition. And these folks are complete scam artists. These are the so-called Dorr Brothers. Not so-called. It is the Dorr Brothers, D-O-R-R. And these folks set up these quote-unquote grassroots organizations, and their issues seem to be right to life and Second Amendment. But they do it in a number of states, knowing that they're going to get some attention from particularly conservatives out there who are passionate about those issues. And what they do is they create a lot of YouTube videos. They create distribution lists and send a ton of emails. And they talk about how they are fighting for, in this case, your Second Amendment rights, and that you need to contribute to the Indiana Firearms Coalition and help them fight for Indiana gun owners. And listen, full disclosure, I founded back in 2020 the 2A Project. You don't get emails from us. You don't get solicitations from us. We just fight in the legislature and otherwise for your Second Amendment rights. And we get a lot of results. We were right out front on constitutional carry. You ask, legislators who led the fight for constitutional carry in 2020. It was the Indiana State Rifle and Pistol Association. It was our local representatives from NRA, and it was the 2A project right out front. I've written a lot of bills that are now Indiana law. In fact, it was very endearing to me, gratifying to me just this last week. I won a red flag case in Wayne County on Tuesday, and I won another red flag case on Thursday in Wabash County. Did some driving this week. In fact, I posted on my Facebook I was doing a tour of Indiana courthouses because I also had a hearing in Decatur County on Wednesday. So in 3 consecutive days, I was in court each day arguing in 2 of those situations to preserve my client's Second Amendment rights in red flag cases. And I won both red flag cases. In both cases, my client was found to be not dangerous. And what I love is in both situations, the court was actually required to enter an expungement order, that is, sealing the records associated with that red flag case, so that having been found not dangerous, these people wouldn't have their lives affected. If anybody does a background search, just looks them up on my case, which you can do for anybody, and see that they'd had a red flag case initiated against them. Because I'd had clients in the past who won their red flag case. We went in and proved they were not dangerous, but then lost jobs or lost relationships or lost volunteer opportunities. One lady could no longer do her job at driving a school bus. I said, well, you had this red flag case. It still shows up on your background check, and your guns were seized from you. Someone's alleging you're dangerous. The state of Indiana alleged you're dangerous. We're not comfortable with that. The person couldn't coach her daughter's volleyball team because she had a red flag case on her record, even though we'd won her case. Another guy got held up joining the military because his recruiter got nervous because he had a red flag case against him where he was allegedly suicidal. He was not suicidal. He'd never been suicidal. He said something vague to a girlfriend when they broke up. He goes, well, I don't know how I'm going to get along without you. Meaning, gosh, I kind of liked having you in my life. I'll have to figure out how to not have you in my life. At no point was he ever suicidal, but through a game of telephone where girlfriend told somebody else. Somebody picked up the phone, called 911, and said, this guy's suicidal. They red flagged him. They seized his guns at gunpoint, and we had to go in and prove he wasn't suicidal and win that case. Then he couldn't get into the military for some period of time. None of that's right. So I wrote a bill, working for the 2A project, wrote a bill that says if you win your case at that first hearing, prove that you're not dangerous, the court has to expunge those records, seal those records from the public record so those don't affect your life. And I've written bills pretty much every session. Don't have one going this session, I have to admit. But for a lot of years, and that's what the 2A project does. We do things to get things done, to pass laws or defeat laws, so as to promote and protect Second Amendment rights in Indiana. What I have never seen, not once, in all the years I've been active in the legislature, and all the years I've been fighting for Second Amendment rights, which goes back a damn long way, I have never seen anybody from the Indiana Firearms Coalition. I've never seen one of the Dorr brothers. The guy that does most of the videos is Aaron Dorr, a creepy-looking dude. I've never seen him in the State House, not once. At a committee hearing? No, never. Never seen him participate. Never seen him come in and offer legislation, but they send these urgent emails and they create these YouTube videos. Oh my God, there's this horrible bill. Help us defeat the bill. You must send us money so we can help defeat this bill and protect Second Amendment rights in Indiana. They don't do anything except send out videos asking for your money. Never seen them take any affirmative action in Indiana ever. In fact, it was funny. I saw one YouTube video where Aaron Dorr is in the Indiana State House. He's filming a video. Now, there's nobody behind him. The State House looks to be completely empty. Looks to where the legislature is probably not even in session for what I could tell. But he apparently did a flyby in Indiana, raced into the State House and did a video. Never seen him participate in the legislative process. But the video, and it annoys me, one, because they're scam artists, and it just bothers me that they're pocketing money from Hoosiers when they're not doing anything to do any good whatsoever in Indiana as far as your Second Amendment rights. But the other thing that bothers me is that I get forwarded their videos all the time. People take their videos, they forward them to me on social media, or they email them to me, And it's always the same thing. Is there any truth to this? Should I be worried about this? Should I send money to the Indiana Firearms Coalition? And there'll be some video with it that's, of course, it's always extreme. It's always urgent. It's always, oh no, there's a crisis. And the most recent one, and I just saw it today, so it got forwarded to me again today, where the Dorr brothers put out this video on Senate Bill 130. This is terrible for gun owners. We must defeat Senate Bill 130. Do whatever you can. Contact us immediately. Contribute below. We're fighting for you. We need to defeat Senate Bill 130. Senate Bill 130 in the legislature is dead as dead could be. It never got a hearing. It was never going to be a viable bill. It was never going to get a hearing. It was DOA from the time it got introduced. It was one of these so-called safe storage bills introduced by Senator Andrea Hunley. It got sent to the Committee on Corrections and Criminal Law, chaired by one Aaron Freeman, who was a fabulous proponent for the Second Amendment. Senator Aaron Freeman was not going to give this thing the light of day. It's a bad bill. It would have penalized legal gun owners for simply having a gun in their home if they also happen to have somebody under 18 under their roof. It was a bad bill, always going to be a bad bill, and it was never going to see the light of day. But knowing it was never going to see the light of day, I mean, if they have any understanding of the Indiana political process whatsoever, Indiana Firearms Coalition and the Dorr brothers had to know this was dead as a doornail from day one. It was DOA, literally dead upon arrival. But they still wanted you to send them money. And I've seen several others. And of course, there are these bills every year. There's an assault weapon ban out there. Sure, of course there is. There was a bill to essentially do away with the Indiana Firearms Preemption Act in multiple counties, including Marion County. If law enforcement recommended that a local government agency be allowed to regulate firearms, which is now prohibited by the Preemption Act, then they could exempt themselves from the preemption law. Marion County being first on the list, I'm sure, if that were to ever pass. Was that ever going to see the light of day? No. Was it a terrible bill? Yes. Should Indianapolis and Fort Wayne and Bloomington and Hammond and Evansville be allowed to regulate firearms however they want to? And own little bastions of liberalism and anti-constitutionality? No, of course they should not. And that's what the preemption law is all about. And so you get these urgent emails. Well, it's all BS. These people don't do anything. They just except create videos and solicit money. And they can't claim a single success story. Look what we did for you. We wrote this bill that's now the law of Indiana. They can't point to any success stories except taking credit for what other people have done and riding on the coattails of those of us legitimately involved in the fight. Now, you want to attribute that to me saying because I have a quote-unquote rival organization, the 2A Project, hey, knock yourself out. But we've got a long success story. I can tell you a dozen bills that I've personally written or edited and argued for that are now the law of the state of Indiana. So you can't argue with success. You can't argue with solid results. And it offends me when people are simply trying to get their hands in your pocket without delivering any effort, much less results. Let's take a break. We're at the quarter hour. You want to join the discussion? We've had a couple of callers who raised questions but didn't want to go on the air. Would love to hear from you with your questions and or comments. Give us a call, 317-239-9393, 317-239-9393. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
February is when excuses disappear and effort has to show up every night.
It's been a rough couple weeks for us, but this group will keep fighting, keep learning, and get back on track.
The Big Ten is stacked, and postseason hopes are at stake.
Confidence is one of those things, like you drop a couple, and then you got to figure out a way to put it away fast. There's another one coming right in front of you.
IU meets Oregon, Monday at 8:30 on the home of the Hoosiers, 93 WIBC.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our next Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class is coming up Saturday, March 7th. Going to be at Indy Arms there on the northeast side of Indy. at 55th and Keystone. It's $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. We'd love to see you there. This is 5 hours of the most important legal information that you need as an Indiana gun owner. You can sign up right online. You go to tactical-firearms.com, click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com. We'd love to see you there. Again, $50 for an individual, $95 for couples for 5 hours of the most important legal information that you need as an Indiana gun owner. Check it out at tactical-firearms.com.
Custom jewelry is not out of reach with PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse. At PA Jewelers, you can customize any piece of jewelry for that special someone. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg. Gold, diamonds, gemstones, and of course those watches from Flederman Von Riest, assembled right here in Indiana. Custom designed jewelry with PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse. Custom jewelry made just for you. PA Jewelers, 3750 South Green Street in Brownsburg. 317-456-4010. PAJewelers.jewelry.
Hammer from the Hammer and Nigel show. And I'm not going to lie to you, I needed help. I got a bald spot in the back of my head, and it's embarrassing. I see it when I'm on television. I see it when I'm on the YouTube channel. So I decided to reach out for help. And my friends at We Grow Hair Indie decided to help me out here. These guys are the absolute best. I was a little leery about it. I could not have a procedure that, one, hurt, or two, left me looking like I'd been scalped. But after I talked with Darren and the entire team at We Grow Hair Indie, they told me their state-of-the-art technology, the progress made in hair growth, it's going to be okay. If I can do this, you guys can do this. Contact the team at We Grow Hair Indie, 317-522-2995. That's 522-2995. Get that free evaluation. It's free. You can also go online to WeGrowHairIndie.com. Contact them today and do this with me. WeGrowHairIndie.com.
That's another amazing run by Team USA.
Mom, think I'll be on Team USA one day?
Well, I'll take this one.
What? Are you speaking to us?
Yes, and to answer your question, anything's possible, especially with Xfinity.
So, I can be the best snowboarder ever?
Well, I can't guarantee that, but Xfinity can guarantee that your internet price won't change for 5 years.
Okay. What if I practice every day?
Then maybe you'll be snowboarding for Team USA at the next Olympic Winter Games. And Mom, you'll still be paying the same price for Wi-Fi.
Ooh, really stuck the landing there. It's the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get our best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed, just $50 a month. Plus, get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 value per month. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Big tax changes this year could mean a bigger refund, and Jackson Hewitt knows how to get you your biggest. You'll get $100 just to try us. That won't make you filthy rich, but definitely gas plus groceries rich. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back, which would make you low-key loaded. Or at least wealthy adjacent? Go with our trusted pros and get $100 to switch. Rest easy. Jackson Hewitt's got your taxes. Guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
It's a new year. Ready for a fresh start or career reboot? At My Computer Career, prep for a more recession-resistant future in the high-demand fields of IT, cybersecurity, in months, not years, including AI. Whether you're starting out or switching careers, no prior training is needed. Attend school online from home or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu to take the free career evaluation today. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Are you still thinking about what to get her this Valentine's Day? Make that moment last forever and surprise her with a gift from Pierce Jewelers. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Find the path to recovery that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
This hour is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Valentine's gift headquarters.
Now you've got a gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. And by the way, on the YouTube chat, my buddy Sparks made a great point. I was talking about, this scam organization, the Indiana Firearms Coalition. And Sparks posted, put your money where it will do some good. And he mentions the Indiana State Rifle and Pistol Association. I agree with that 100%. Gun Owners of America. I agree with that 100%. Firearms Policy Coalition. Absolutely correct. And Second Amendment Foundation. Yep, 100%. Each one of those, Sparks is 100% right. They're absolutely solid organizations that do a lot of good for gun owners all across the country. And one of the things that breaks my heart about this scam organization of Indiana Firearms Coalition being out there and being such scoundrels, really, and such scam artists, is the name is deceptively similar to Firearms Policy Coalition. And please don't get those two confused. It's the Indiana Firearms Coalition that are the Door brothers and a scam artist, and it's Firearms Policy Coalition, which is a national organization that does great work. And listen, Second Amendment Foundation, Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, they in my mind have really stepped into the breach with NRA not being as active nationally as we saw them be for a lot of years. And Indiana's, or NRA, I should say, has had a lot of its own internal distractions. They've had a ton of litigation. They had a total overhaul of their management structure and their leadership, and that I think they're on their way back. And I will continue to say we need a strong, well-financed, powerful NRA in this country fighting for gun rights. But as NRA is reestablishing itself, I think, and getting more active, and they certainly are now more active in litigation and otherwise trying to protect gun rights. In the meantime, Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, and Second Amendment Foundation have each done a really solid job in that area. When you look at the litigation involving bump stocks, you look at the litigation involving pistol braces, forced reset triggers, and ghost guns, quote unquote, any number of other Second Amendment issues where there have been successes in the courtroom, and in some cases injunctions being issued against the ATF saying you cannot enforce some of these regulations you imposed on gun owners because they either weren't passed in a manner consistent with federal law, specifically the Administrative Procedures Act, or they simply violate the Second Amendment. And therefore are void and unenforceable as being unconstitutional. Those results in the courtroom, a lot of those have come from either Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, or Second Amendment Foundation, or some combination thereof, because they also team up well and get a lot of solid success in that area. So I'm a member of all three of those, as well as ISRPA here locally. So I agree with Sparks completely, and I'm glad he mentioned each of those organizations because they are absolutely rock solid. Let's shift gears a little bit. An interesting situation is going on in Colorado right now, and I only mention this because it makes me laugh a little bit on how liberal politicians can really twist themselves into intellectual pretzels when it comes to constitutional rights, and especially where constitutional rights and the Second Amendment are involved. And as those issues intersect with other matters of public policy, and what am I getting to with that whole word salad right there? Well, the 18 different attorneys general across the country have apparently teamed up to submit a friend of the court brief in the U.S. versus Hamani case, which is scheduled for oral argument, I believe, on March 6th, if I recall correctly. So it's coming right up next month, March 2nd. I stand corrected. And this is the case where Mr. Hamani was found in possession of a gun. A search warrant was issued for his home. We had law enforcement agents show up, find a 9mm pistol and 60 grams of marijuana. And I believe some smaller amount of cocaine was found as well. Well, he gets prosecuted under the law that says, and this is USC 922 G3, 18 USC 922 G is where all the not all, but most of the federal prohibitions of who cannot possess a firearm. That's where those are. That's what 922G1 is, where felons can't possess a firearm. That's expressed as people convicted of a crime punishable by over 1 year. Well, that's how we typically define felonies. And other prohibitions, like if you're under domestic violence order of protection, you can't possess a gun. Well, that's in 18 U.S.C. 922G as well. Well, G3 says you can't possess a firearm if you're a user of or addicted to an unlawful drug. And marijuana, as ridiculous as this is, remains an unlawful drug at the federal level. In fact, there's some talk and some effort at rescheduling it, but right now it's at the top of the list. It's in the schedule of drugs that are the most harmful and the most addictive with the least medicinal value. So it's up there with heroin and cocaine and methamphetamine. And as ridiculous as that is, and you've probably heard me say, if you're a listener of the Gun Guy Show for any length of time, that marijuana and I discovered don't get along all the way back in college. So it's not an issue for me personally. It certainly is for some members of my family. But notwithstanding the fact it's not an issue for me personally, I still think that it's ludicrous that someone who's simply an occasional user of marijuana, which is now legal in, I'm pretty sure, more than half the states. That'd be an easy, quick Google search. I believe it's the majority of the states have legalized marijuana at the local level. The problem is, with this federal statute, 18 U.S.C. 922G3, is that marijuana is still illegal at the federal level. And until it's legalized at the federal level, you essentially have to choose between your Second Amendment rights and your ability to use marijuana. And I think that's completely ludicrous. I think it's ludicrous in part because I've talked to a number of veterans who say it's the very best treatment for their PTSD. I've talked to a number of people, and I see these people interviewed, and I read comments from people all across the country who say it's one of the best things for their pain management. I have a very good friend who has severe stomach issues, and he says marijuana is one of the things that settles his stomach down. And especially when you're talking about veterans with PTSD, that apparently helps a lot. And I know that the pharmaceutical industry, and I'm sure Eli Lilly has a tremendous impact here in Indiana with the Lilly Foundation, the amount of money they have to throw around. I'm sure that their separate lobbying efforts are very impactful to the Indiana legislature. But I think it's ridiculous that marijuana isn't legal at every level. And I think it's ridiculous that while it's still illegal at the federal level, it's scheduled as one of the most severely destructive, addictive, and non-beneficial drugs that exist out there. You're going to compare marijuana with methamphetamine? I think that's ludicrous. And that, to a large degree, is going to be the point of the argument in this U.S. versus Hamani case when it gets argued March 2nd before the Supreme Court. It's fully briefed. But as part of that, 18 state attorneys general submitted apparently a brief arguing in favor of the law and why the law should be upheld and not be found to be unconstitutional. But in doing that, we saw an interesting disagreement between the Attorney General of the state of Colorado and the governor of Colorado. And again, I just point this out. I mean, a lot of wacky things are going on in Colorado. They're out there passing all kinds of gun control laws, assault weapon ban, and on and on. But the Attorney General talked about how it's necessary to maintain the law, making it illegal to possess a firearm even while a user of marijuana, even an occasional user of marijuana. The law is broader than saying if you're actually under the influence of marijuana, you can't possess a gun. No. If you use marijuana a couple of times a week and it's been 3 or 4 days since you've used marijuana, you still cannot possess a firearm because you're a user of, a consistent or habitual user of marijuana. You will get prosecuted. That's exactly the situation with Mr. Hamani, whose case is before the Supreme Court. And what's interesting is in this brief that the Attorney General of Colorado signed on to, it says, well, the habitual drug use is associated with unique dangers when combined with firearms. And the Second Amendment allows legislatures to confront shifting societal problems with new regulatory solutions. So in the context of the Hamani case, what he's saying is that the use of marijuana is a quote-unquote unique danger when combined with firearms, and he's specifically calling the use of marijuana as a shifting societal problem. And this is in a state that was one of the very first states to legalize marijuana. How can you have it both ways? How can you say marijuana is so dangerous, is such a societal problem that someone should not be allowed to exercise their constitutional right while using marijuana, at the same time say it's safe enough that it ought to be legalized and sold on every other street corner in the city of Denver and everywhere else legally within the state of Colorado? How can you say both things? And as a chief law enforcement officer, as Attorney General of the state of state of Colorado, how do you square that circle? And what's interesting is the governor out there, a gentleman named Polis, I believe, maybe Polis, Polis, he's actually calling for federal action to decriminalize marijuana so as to bring federal law to be consistent with Colorado law. And he specifically mentioned the Second Amendment issue. This is the governor. There's no reason that someone should be banned from exercising their Second Amendment rights simply because they use marijuana. So it's interesting because these are both Democrats. I don't know, Governor Polis apparently from time to time calls himself a libertarian. But I don't think you can be a libertarian and sign all of the gun control law that he signed into law in Colorado and that he has supported throughout his time in politics in Colorado. But I think it's interesting that you have this tension between the Attorney General and the governor on this issue. Because listen, if marijuana is so dangerous as to make it necessary to prohibit people legally from exercising their Second Amendment rights if they're even an occasional user, then how can it be legal? That makes no sense to me. That's interesting. But as we get into this case, we'll talk more about those issues and how the Supreme Court is likely to deal with them. Right now at the bottom of the hour, so we'll take a break. We haven't had any callers that wanted to go on the air. We've had some callers who just wanted to make a comment. In fact, a gentleman who just called to say nice things about the show. He was actually driving by the building, as I recall, and wanted to tell producer Gavin that he was enjoying the show. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and thank you for taking the effort to call in with nice words. But join the discussion, 317-239-9393. That's 317-239-9393. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
It's an all-new date, but it's the same great bourbon. Saturday, February 28th, join me for Trump 1 year and 1 month later at the Hyatt Regency in downtown Indianapolis. The snow caused us to postpone, but it couldn't stop us. February 28th, downtown Indianapolis, the Hyatt Regency, Trump 1 year and 1 month later. The bourbon, the food, the live music, the red tie, and you. I'll have the full breakdown of how we win the midterms and more. Get your tickets. Go to WIBC.com. Trump 1 year and 1 month later at WIBC.com.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Openings like this don't last. Vasey is hiring now for experienced commercial kitchen and refrigeration technicians. Vasey is offering top pay, real work-life balance, and full benefits, including paid holidays, paid vacation, paid travel time, and paid training. If you've been waiting for the right move, this is it. The new year is already moving. Don't miss your window. Call 317-873-2512 today. That's 317-873-2512. Or apply now at Vasey.com. VASEY.com.
Daisy was abandoned by her family and placed in foster care at 15 years old.
Her life was full of uncertainty. She thought she'd never have a permanent place to call home.
Before I was adopted, I felt like I wasn't enough. I had this hole in my heart, and I never knew what I needed to patch that hole. But when my mom asked to adopt me, that hole was closed. It feels so normal now to say that I'm a part of this family. I am surrounded by love. I feel safe. And that hole inside of me is gone. I am whole. I'm finally enough just as I am.
The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is changing the lives of teenagers at risk of aging out of foster care. Like Daisy, every child deserves a permanent, loving home. You can help. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
Fox News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. President Trump speaking with Minnesota leaders to try to put an end to the unrest in the state, deploying his border czar Tom Homan to lead ICE operations.
He will be reporting directly to the president. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino had been acting as the Border Patrol lead here, even hosting daily press conferences, really the face of the operation here. But Bovino is now returning to be sector chief in El Centro, California, and other Border Patrol agents are leaving as well.
Fox's Matt Finn, at least 34 people dead after that massive winter storm. It's still bringing bone-chilling temperatures nationwide. Fox Weather's Melanie Black in Boston, where almost 2 feet of snow fell.
And that snow is not going anywhere anytime soon. Our Fox Weather Forecast Center is calling for high temperatures in the 20s and overnight lows in the single digits this week.
America's listening to Fox News.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
Every child deserves the best teachers, facilities, and academic programs to set them up for success both now and in the future. At Milton Hershey School in Hershey, Pennsylvania, we make that a reality for children from qualifying families who are looking for greater opportunities. Milton Hershey School enrolls students from pre-K through 12th grade from across the United States to live and learn on a beautiful state-of-the-art campus with all costs covered. Students who are accepted to Milton Hershey School have access to a top-tier education, along with health care, meals, housing, and fully funded career pathways to pursue whatever they're passionate about, from performing arts to internships to coding. Students can even accrue up to $95,000 to continue their education after high school, thanks to the generosity of chocolatier Milton Hershey and his wife, Catherine. Are you looking to set your child up for success or know a child who could benefit from Milton Hershey School? Learn more at mhskids.org/admissions.
He's a Second Amendment attorney. He's an NRA certified firearms instructor. He's the gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WYPC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WYBC. One thing I posted about, I put it on both Twitter or X and Facebook earlier this week, and that's that I went out to Wisconsin, a suburb of Milwaukee, and filmed an interview with a gentleman named Rob Chadwick of U.S. Concealed Carry Association. I went out there, it's probably been 3 or 4 weeks ago now, but I went out there. They flew me out. Didn't actually pay me anything for going out there, but they did pay for my travel and had a really nice dinner the night before. But I did an interview with Rob Chadwick, and if you don't know that name, Rob Chadwick is the Director of Training and Education for the U.S. Concealed Carry Association. And listen, I've been a member of USCCA and had their insurance since 2012, so for quite some time. Full disclosure, they did for a couple of years paid me a little bit of money to do a law of self-defense seminar for them. I did 3 or 4 for them. Where they paid me a little bit of money, and essentially it was me talking for 45 minutes or so about the law of self-defense, and then they would come in and sell you insurance, which was the idea of these meetings, and there was some compensation involved there. So take my comments about USCCA as you will, with that in mind. But they haven't paid me any money in quite some time. But I flew out there, and I was happy to do this interview because Rob Chatwick is a legitimate badass. And it was funny because I looked at his resume a little bit, and we had breakfast before we did this interview, and he goes, I understand you're an instructor like I'm an instructor. And I think I said something like, I'm an instructor like you're an instructor, kind of how I'm a boxer, how Mike Tyson's a boxer, because I took some hand-to-hand lessons a few years ago. I don't compare those things. Rob Chatwick, former FBI sniper, former FBI hostage rescue team member, former FBI firearms instructor. I mean, this guy's resume is just unbelievable. He's been there, done that. And I've been an instructor for a long time. I think I'm pretty good at teaching new shooters how to shoot handguns, rifles, and shotguns. But that's kind of far afield from training the FBI hostage rescue team, one of the most elite hostage teams, hostage rescue teams in the known universe. And Rob, being a legitimate badass himself, has now taken this job after having retired from the FBI with a long and storied career there, now director of education and training at USCCA. And he has been interviewing lawyers for what they call their Attorney Insider Series. And I think I was the 4th or 5th one in this series where they've brought in attorneys from around the country to talk about Second Amendment issues. And of course, I was honored that they wanted me to come in because they're recording these interviews for a national audience, and there are a whole lot of USCCA members. You do have to be a USCCA member to watch these videos on their website. But if you are a USCCA member, or if you're interested in joining, I've had their carry insurance. I'm defending right now, 4 or 5 different clients under USCCA's coverage. In other words, people who have used their guns in a self-defense scenario, but are still getting sued or prosecuted as a result of that. USCCA is paying their legal bills. I know, because they're paying me my bills to defend these folks. So if you're interested in joining, this isn't a sales pitch for them. I'll leave that up to you. They have no relationship with the show in terms of advertising or anything. But if you are a USCCA member, you can go in and watch us. We talked about upcoming legal changes in the area of Second Amendment. So we talked about prospects for national concealed carry reciprocity, in this case, national constitutional concealed carry reciprocity being passed. We talked about a lot of the changes to NFA, including now free stamps for SBRs, SBSs, and suppressors. Other changes we'd like to see across the country, a lot of different state court changes, and any number of other issues. But if you're interested in that, it was I think an hour and 15 minutes or so. So we got into a lot of good stuff. So USCCA members, or if you'd like to join, check that out at USCCA. I'll tell you what, a couple of people have called in with questions or comments. So let's go to the break here at the 3/4 hour, and we come back. We'll have a couple of callers here on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
The U.S. military blew up another alleged drug boat.
93 WIBC.
2 people died, 128 drug traffickers have been killed.
What happens next
Bill that would ban kids from using cell phones in schools
happens here.
These earthquakes have been a reminder that we do have earthquakes.
Stay in the know.
More snow is expected to arrive in Indiana.
While you're on the go.
And the Winter Olympics begins today with opening ceremony set at 2 Eastern.
On air, online, and on Alexa.
Guy Relford for the law offices of Guy Relford. one of the things we do at the law office that we really enjoy doing is restore people's rights through expungements or other restoration procedures. And we'd love to explore that opportunity for you. If that applies to you or a friend, family member, loved one, check us out at relfordlaw.com. If you have an old felony conviction that's preventing you from exercising your Second Amendment rights, for a lot of felonies, not all, certainly, but for a lot, we can fix that for you and restore your rights. So check us out again at relfordlaw.com. You can just click on Contact Us, send us an email, or the phone number's right there. You can call us during the week and talk about whether we can help you out with your Second Amendment issues at relfordlaw.com.
Every 15 seconds, someone is diagnosed with cancer. If it's happened to you or someone you love, the American Cancer Society can help at every step of the journey. Visit cancer.org today.
The future depends on teachers. Every day, teachers are shaping our tomorrows, starting their students on journeys that will change the course of history. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who will make preventing pandemics their life's work, sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who will help combat climate change, and generating possibilities for a student who will be the first in their family to graduate college. It all starts with teachers who meet challenges with creativity, who reinvent education for the future, who work towards a school system that lifts up every child, regardless of race, income, or zip code, and who enable the full potential of our students, our communities, and our country. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Shape the future. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Possibilities are all around us. Everywhere we look, we see opportunity in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action in communities all around the world that we call home. Like transforming an old bus to feed hungry children, or providing life-saving equipment to those who need it most. From fighting disease to rebuilding schools, together we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at rotary.org/action.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Kelly Clarkson, and as the daughter of a school teacher, I know just how important education is. No matter how old you are or your situation, continuing to learn will enrich your life and help remove barriers you didn't even know were there. So much opportunity, y'all. Whether it's a foreign language, history, or a different way to look at things, take some time each day to learn something new. This message is courtesy of the United States Air Force.
Step into the spotlight with Dancing with the Stars. Catch the live show at Old National Center Wednesday, February 25th. Reserve your seats and tickets today at WIBC.com.
Your rights, your responsibilities, your guns. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. So we're coming out of that break, and I can see producer Gavin it's through a window now. We're not in the same room like we used to be in the old studio. And he was in there pushing buttons, and he had a what the hell look on his face. Sometimes with the new studio, things just don't seem to cooperate like they're supposed to, but Gavin's working hard to make it work. Let's tell you what, let's go to the phone lines. We've got a couple of callers. I don't know what their names are. Amy? Awesome. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's go to line one. Welcome to the Gun Guy Show.
Hello?
Yeah, we got you. What you got for us?
Okay, this is Annie. Guy, in Indiana,
I am under the belief that the Castle Doctrine also applies to occupants of vehicles. Do I have that right?
Yeah, the Castle Doctrine, which means you can use reasonable force, including deadly force, to prevent an unlawful entry or attack on your home. Unlawful entry or attack also applies to preventing an unlawful entry or attack on your occupied motor vehicle. That's exactly the way the law is written.
Oh, okay. I know you're involved in the case now, and I know you can't say much about it, but I have heard you say in previous shows that one does not have to wait in one's home before his door is breached before firing.
Absolutely
is that
not.
also correct?
No, you can prevent an unlawful entry. That word is right in the statute, prevent. So they don't have to be in your home because it says prevent or terminate an unlawful entry. So someone breaks your front window, they're just starting to step through the window. They're not in your house yet. They're still on the front porch. Can you prevent their unlawful entry with deadly force? 100%, no question about it. And thanks so much for calling the Gun Guy Show.
About the car or vehicle, can I ask you that question?
About what? I'm sorry?
Okay. You mentioned earlier about someone with a baseball bat in the street getting ready to break in your driver's window. At what point is one allowed to return fire on that person? Do you have to wait till you have glass in your face and your eyes and you're blinded? At what point can you return fire?
Well, the statute just says you have to have a reasonable belief that you're preventing an unlawful entry. So I can't tell you exactly how far his arm needs to be cocked back before he's swinging the tire iron at your window. Does the window have to be broken? It doesn't say that. You just have to have that reasonable belief. So if you say, hey, the guy had a tire iron in his hand, he's getting ready to swing it to break my window, I believed I was preventing an unlawful entry or attack on my vehicle. Prosecutor's office agrees with you on that. It's going to be totally legal. And we got another caller. Let's go, I think, quickly here. We only got about a minute. Let's go to our second caller.
Hey, Mr. Relford.
Ryan, what you got for us?
Yes, sir. Hey, so when it comes to NFA items, one, does a suppressor count on the entire length of the weapon, I guess regarding a rifle, and for the barrel length, to be over 16 inches. And two, if I were to manufacture a permanently affixed suppressor, kind of like an integrally suppressed device, is that a Form 1 suppressor? Is it still a two-stamp rifle?
I'll tell you what, we've only got about 10 seconds here, so let me just answer what I can quickly. A suppressor does not count on your rifle length. It's without any attachments. In fact, even your muzzle brake, if you can unscrew it, unless it's tacked and welded, that's not part of your overall length. And with that, I'm sorry, we're at the top of the hour. We got to take a break for this week's edition. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you come back. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WYBC.
Get great deals next weekend at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show next Saturday and Sunday at Stout Field in Indianapolis. The best dealers in the region will be at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show. Admission is just $6 for adults and kids